Zubin. I don't think we thought it would end like this quickly.
Yeah, any other night, that story with the goalie would be the biggest story in sports. But instead, it's Fury over Wilder, and fight two, the legendary trainer Teddy Atlas is here. We were watching it round by round scoring. He gave round 2 to Wilder, and from there on out, it was all Fury. What happened?
Well, first of all, full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
I picked Wilder to win. Figured the eraser would take care of a lot of sins. Tonight it didn't. Also, full disclosure, I've been saying from the beginning of his career that Wilder, and with a lot of attacking, when I say it, especially from Wilder's people, that Wilder can't fight. Can't fight. Never learned how to fight. But punches are not made. They are born. And he was born with that great eraser, with that thunderbolt in the right hand. But tonight, it wasn't there to pull him out of the fire. It wasn't there to say. Tonight, he got exposed because he doesn't know how to fight, because his technique is so good. And all credit to Fury. And I was talking about it, that instead of being a Ferrari, he decided to be a Jeep.
Yeah.
Jeeps can be good. Jeeps can go up terrain. Jeeps can, go up hills. Jeeps can crash into things. Jeeps can knock things down. And my point was that he was going to have a kamikaze attitude.
Yeah.
And he did. It was to just not care. Sometimes maybe it's good not to care. Maybe it's good not to care, to just go in there and go after it. And that's what Fury did tonight. He didn't try to box. He didn't use his greatest assets, his legs, his elusive ability. He used his size, his determination, and he took advantage of a guy who was there to be taken advantage. A guy whose technique was there to fail him on any given night, and his power was there to save him on any given night. Tonight, his technique failed him, and his power, it never got a chance to save him.
It seemed like Fury, once he knocked him down that first time, he wasn't letting up at that point. He knew he could smell that blood, or he was licked the blood. At one point, he was doing that. But it looked like he knew he had him. Would you agree?
Yeah, he did. I mean, a fighter knows what's going on in that ring. A fighter can feel the guy, even in a clinch. You could feel his strength. You could feel his submission. You can feel the little secrets. There's secrets going on in there. If the guy's giving a little bit, if he's not pushing back. Fury felt that. He felt it, and it gave him confidence. It gave him steam to go forward. He understood what was going on, and he followed what he understood the right way to victory.
Historically, and this is where we love having Teddy on, I mean, he's been affiliated with so many of the greats. They said if Fury were to win this fight, he'd become one of the greatest British boxers of all time, right there with Lennox Lewis, who was actually ringside with Joe Tessitore and Andre Ward calling the fight. In history, I know it's just one fight, but for the hype for this fight, part 2, with possibly part 3 coming, where does Tyson Fury fall within the great British boxers we've seen?
I mean, you've really you got to give him a little bit more time. I mean, this was a great upset, and it was on a great stage. I mean, the promotion for this fight was unheard of. I mean, it was Super Bowl ads. I mean, so everybody was watching this fight, so it's going to get all the attention, and the attention that it deserved and that Fury deserved. But at the end of the day, you still got to give him a little bit more of a resume. Let him go a little longer. But right now, hey, he's in a throne, baby. He picked the right set to come out in.
Yeah.
Sitting on that throne. He's the king, baby. He's on the throne, baby. But don't forget, there's a guy over in London.
Yeah?
His name is Joshua. Yeah. I know everyone's going to talk about bringing this back.
Sure.
But can you imagine how big that fight's going to be?
Oh, my goodness.
Let me just tell you something.
Yeah?
Joshua was putting 90,000 fannies in his seat in Wembley when he was fighting doormen from the King's Arm restaurant. Yeah, the guys were serving hamburgers, good hamburgers.
Yeah.
And they put mayonnaise on them over there. That's the only bad thing. But can you imagine? They'd have to build another stadium to put Joshua and Fury
together.
I mean, that's the fight they're going to be talking about. As much as people, around here are going to want to talk about a third.
Trilogy.
I get it. But they're going to talk about that. And you know what speaks at the end of the day? Money.
That's true.
It's always.
Money talks. That might be the future in the present. It is all about Fury right now. Let's go out to Vegas to Stan Verrett and Mark Kriegel with more on this fight.
All right, guys, Sports Center on the road, presented by Rocket Mortgage, by Quicken Loans. Tyson Fury, the lineal champion, and now the WBC heavyweight champion as well. Welcome into the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Stamper right here along with Mark Kriegel. Mark, Tyson Fury said he would come in bigger and stronger. He did that at 273 pounds. He said he would take the fight to Deontay Wilder, and he did that as well. Finished the show in the 7th.
Well, he filled a vacancy that's been around for quite a while now. The planet has a baddest man. He did exactly what he said he would do. He did it with good balance, being more physical, using his size, and using good fundamentals, straight punches, 1-2s. It was everything he learned 10 years ago at Kronk Gym. This is a great victory for the legacy of Emmanuel Stewart, and a great victory for Sugar Hill Stewart.
Right.
Everything this guy said, he told me 3 weeks ago, I'm coming in at 270. Why? It doesn't quite make sense. It makes sense now.
Right. He didn't try to box him the way he did the first time around. He took the fight to him. He predicted a second-round knockout. Didn't get that, but he did get the first of his 2 knockdowns in round 3.
Everything he got from boxing correctly. Correctly aggressive. Good balance.
So he was leaning on Wilder the whole fight and then put him down in the 3rd.
It's a 1-2, and he went forward the whole fight. If you'll notice, most of the fight, Wilder was someplace he'd never been before, with his back on the ropes, moving backward. Here we are in round 5, a body shot. It's good fundamental boxing. And Wilder's never been challenged like this.
Right. This is the first time he's ever been knocked down twice in a fight. As a matter of fact, he'd only been knocked down 1 time previously in his career. So total domination from Tyson Fury in this fight.
Total domination, but you also see how much this guy has come back and how much he has, in fact, improved physically, emotionally, spiritually from that first fight in December of 18.
Yeah, and even before that, I mean, he was really in a bad way, struggled with drugs, struggled with mental health issues, but he found his way back to the ring, and now he's the lineal champion and WBC heavyweight champion and the biggest star in boxing.
Forget lineal. He's the baddest man, and I don't care how many belts Anthony Joshua has. They don't matter as much as what happened tonight. We knew who the best guy was.
Yes.
And I think if they meet, Tyson Fury will dominate Anthony Joshua as well.
So when we look forward now, the best move for Fury next, there is a rematch clause in here. Wilder can trigger the rematch if he wants a rematch. Is the best move for Fury now to try to unite the belts with Anthony Joshua in a fight that would set Great Britain on fire? Or is a rematch with Wilder the better fight for him?
Listen, you saw how much ego these guys have on the way into the ring. Okay? The rematch belongs to the loser.
Right.
Winner gets the spoils, loser gets the rematch. Can you imagine having that huge an ego and not exercising the rematch clause? I can't. If I'm Deontay Wilder, I don't think I can live with this. Unless I am, in fact, going to retire, I don't see that happening. So I think that there will be another fight. I think that there will be a trilogy here. And then there will be some resolution with all the belts.
All right, we've talked about Fury's success. Let's talk about Wilder and what we saw. He's lived and died with that right hand through his whole career. That just wasn't an effective strategy in this fight.
I thought that Andre said something extraordinary. His own corner, as much as I love those guys, they needed to challenge him. And they needed to challenge him years ago. And perhaps there was no one out there who could, in fact, bring out the remedial work that needed to be done for Deontay Wilder. The footwork, the jab, it's too late for that. You bank everything on the right hand, you're going to fight a certain way. Tonight it wasn't enough because he ran up against the guy who threw a really impressive 1-2. Simplest combination in boxing. Yep. But he knew where it was going, he knew why he was throwing it, and he knew where his feet were. And after he threw it, he knew what he was going to do, which is to lean on him.
Wilder had some balance issues throughout the fight. Early on, it seemed like it was his stance and Fury leaning on him, but then he got hit in the ear, and maybe that affected his equilibrium. Is that what you saw?
There were equilibrium issues. I think that was obvious. You know, when you start bleeding out of your ear, you're not going to stand up perfectly straight.
Your ear fluid.
But I think that it was something else too. Fury knew what he was going to do. I'm going to come in after my combination. I'm going to lean on you. I'm going to tire you out. I'm going to test the physical limitations of how you're structured.
Right.
He's not a big, sturdy guy in comparison to today's heavyweights. He's a smaller frame, with smaller waist, smaller legs.
Yep. So put into perspective now. You covered the fight game. You spent time with Tyson Fury over the last few years. How big a star is he in boxing right now?
You have that rarest combination of supreme ability and outrageous charisma.
Right.
You're not going to see this often. Enjoy it.
So boxing has its biggest star, Tyson Fury, a 7th round TKO of Deontay Wilder to claim the WBC heavyweight title here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. We got lots more to come later on SportsCenter. Right now, let's send it back to the studio.
But in this one, he was backing up quite a bit because Tyson Fury was coming with blows like that one. Consistently to the left ear of Deontay Wilder, puts him on the canvas multiple times in this fight. Take a look at the CompuBox stocks through the round 3. Wilder landed 20 punches, but Fury landed 30 of the 89, but it was the power that was really starting to get to Deontay Wilder. When you get hit in the ear, it kind of messes up your equilibrium. If you forgot what that is when you were in school, go Google it because it keeps you standing upright. So now we look at it through 5 rounds, and look how Fury is starting to put even more pressure on Deontay Wilder. He said he was going to knock him out in the 2nd round. Took a little longer than that, but then he's tasting victory. Hopefully not the blood on Wilder's shoulder that Fury's tasting, but it was a dominating performance to say the least. Here we are through 6 rounds now. There was no question that Tyson Fury was going to win this fight. The only question once you got to round 6, John, was how long was it going to be? Well, it didn't last. Tyson Fury wins the rematch. Deontay Wilder couldn't believe that the fight ended. His corner was going to throw in the towel anyway. 7th round TKO, Tyson Fury, the WBC heavyweight champion. And you take a look at the history of boxing in terms of most fights without a loss to start a career for British heavyweight champions. There is Tyson Fury, 31 fights, still without a loss, and now the Gypsy King reigns supreme over the heavyweight division. More coverage right now from Las Vegas with Stan Verrett.
Guys, SportsCenter on the Road is presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Tyson Fury came in on a throne with a crown on his head. He leaves with all of that and the WBC heavyweight championship belt. 7th round TKO over Deontay Wilder here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Stan Verrett here along with Mark Kriegel. Mark, Tyson Fury said he would come in and take the attack to Deontay Wilder. That's exactly what he did.
Everything he told me 3 weeks ago. I'm coming in at 270. It's going to be simple, balance, fundamentals, 1-2. I'm going to lean on him and take him out. Wasn't a 2nd round knockout, but it was pretty damn good. Fury thinks of himself as not just a fighter, but he thinks of his lineage.
Right.
You know, he's a Gypsy King. We're going to look at the first knockdown. 1-2. Pretty simple, pretty effective.
Only the 2nd time Wilder's been knocked out in his career, and Fury just dominant from the very beginning.
Physically dominant in a way that no one has challenged Deontay Wilder before, but he thought of himself as a king the way he walked in, and he's a king who has fallen, rose again, never rose as high as he did tonight. Hail, hail, the planet's baddest man.
He said that he figured out something. Interestingly enough, after he got hit with that big blow in the 12th round of the first fight, and he got up at that point and took the attack to Wilder in that 12th round. Did you see some carryover from that?
If you're going to have an epiphany, that's probably the moment to have it. I think what we saw tonight is how physically and emotionally different he was from the first fight. We're about to see the 5th round.
The 2nd knockdown.
And it's a body shot. Simple, fundamental stuff that no one has been able to do to Deontay Wilder. You ever felt one of those shots on your ribs? You know why he fell.
We look at the CompuBox numbers. The biggest number, I don't see it on the screen here. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Power punches landed 58-18. That number underscores the dominance probably as well as any other number.
The most powerful punch in the fight was his jab, and he had a cronk jab, a long, stiff jab. They weren't messing around jabs. They weren't decoy jabs. They weren't blinding jabs. The difference between these two fights, Tyson Fury's father knows him best. That's the voice that he hears.
Yep.
That's a Gypsy King, his old man. Last time he told him, "You're not ready for this, son. You're going to wind up hurt." He didn't. This time, his dad told him, "This will be the easiest fight of your life."
He certainly made it look easy. The lineal champion is now also the WBC heavyweight titleist. Let's listen to the champ.
I just want to say big shout out Deontay Wilder. You know, he came here tonight, he manned up, he really did show heart of a champion. I hit him with a clean right hand and dropped him, and he got back up and battled on into round 7. He is a warrior, he will be back, he will be a champion again. But I will say, the king has returned to the top of the throne.
All right, so obviously some audio issues there with Deontay Wilder. We'll get that to you as soon as we get that sorted out. But Wilder just never looked like he was into it. You never felt like he gained any momentum in this fight at all. What happened?
Because Tyson Fury didn't allow him to gather any momentum. He's not accustomed to fighting going backwards. He's not accustomed to having his back on the ropes. He spent pretty much the entire fight with his back to the ropes. If you're a big hitter, you're not used to being there. That's disorienting in and of itself. So it was the game plan. It was everything Tyson Fury said. I'm dating myself, but you might remember there's an old movie, Billy Jack. I'm going to take my left foot and put it on the right side of your face. That's basically what he did tonight.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I know you don't believe me. I'm going to do it. Guess what? He did it.
All right, we got the issue sorted out now. Let's listen into Bernardo Osuna speaking with Wilder after the fight.
First off, how are you?
I'm doing good. You know, things like this happen. The best man won tonight, but my coach, my side threw in the towel, and you know I'm ready to go out on my shield, man. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of things going on coming into this fight, but it is what it is. You know, my leg was already coming in due to other little things. But, you know, I make no excuses tonight. I just wish that my corner would have let me win out on my shield. I'm a warrior, and that's what I do, you know what I'm saying? But he did what he did. It's no excuses, and we come back and be stronger.
They did something to protect you, which is their job, which is important. Now, how do you recover from something like what happened tonight?
I mean, even the greatest had lost and came back. You know what I'm saying? That's just part of it. And you just you take it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? I can't make no excuses tonight. Got a lot of complications. And like I said, we come back even stronger the next time around. You know, this is what big time boxing is all about. The best must fight the best. I just appreciate all the fans that came out tonight and support the show.
All right, so Deontay Wilder suffering the first loss of his career, but it sounds like we are going to get the trilogy. He says he wants another crack at Tyson Fury, but he also said a couple of other things. He said he wanted to go out without throwing in the towel, his corner trying to protect him. Did you agree with the decision to stop it?
I would have no problem with anything JD's did for Deontay Wilder. He was there day one when Deontay walked into that gym. He loves that kid. They made each other. And they've been through something that probably only they know. And if he chose to protect his fighter in that way, I have no issue with it. I want to say a bit of praise for Wilder. No American has done what he's done. We have generations of heavyweights who failed at other sports because they thought that, well, I'm a great athlete, I'm a big guy, I can be heavyweight champion of the world. Deontay Wilder's the only guy who did it, who came to this sport late and actually won a belt. He held that belt for 5 years, deserves great praise for what he did. If JD's wants to protect him, God bless him. And a loss, it's a loss, man. Ali lost. Deontay Wilder can lose. But I'm trying to come back.
First one for him, though. Now, he wasn't specific, but he said his legs were weak coming into this fight. He didn't look stable. He didn't look balanced. He had lots of problems there. Did you get a sense that his legs weren't under him?
His legs weren't under him because Tyson Fury didn't allow his legs to be under him. You know, I mean, Tyson Fury physically dominated him for the duration of the fight. That's why he didn't have his legs. Listen, balance was never his forte. Footwork was never his forte.
Right.
It came to pass. I mean, look, you're getting leaned on by a guy who's 40 pounds heavier. It's going to exacerbate your bad footwork, your bad balance. It was a vindication for fundamentals and for the Kronk Gym.
So where does he go from here now?
He goes for the rematch, man.
The rematch, yeah. But I mean, in terms of this next fight with Tyson Fury, what does he have to do now after the first loss of his career and then facing that same man again?
He has to figure out how he's going to land that right hand. And I think it starts with the jab. I mean, his corner had a perfectly good game plan for this. Remember we were talking about the right eye that had been surgically repaired?
Yeah, we didn't hear anything about that tonight.
You didn't hear anything about it because he couldn't get off the jab. He tried a little bit in the beginning, and you see when he jabs, his right hand flies back. He's got to go back and do something like what Tyson Fury did. Go back to the fundamentals, and it's going to start with the jab. One way or another, if he's going to make a comeback, a meaningful comeback, it's going to start with the jab.
All right, that's still to come. But for tonight, Tyson Fury, total domination of Deontay Wilder. 7th round TKO to take the WBC Heavyweight Championship to add to his lineal title. Much more coverage of the Heavyweight Championship coming up from here in Vegas. Right now, let's go back.